As we readied ourselves to catch the short bus ride for the first stop of the day, we prepared our hearts for what was to come, visiting the infamous House of Caiaphas. Caiaphas, whose name means searcher, was appointed high priest by Valerius Gratus under Tiberius. He continued office from AD 26 to 37 when he was deposed. He was the president of the Jewish council, Sanhedrin, which condemned the Lord Jesus to death, Caiaphas declaring him guilty of blasphemy. Over the ruined site of Caiaphas's house, a modern church has been built to commemorate the area and serves to protect the historic, though infamous site. The church is known as St. Peter in Gallicantu. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. The House of Caiaphas no longer exists as it did in ancient times. An artist's rendition of what the structure may have looked like is captured here in a small-scale model outside the Israeli Museum, although this depiction is probably a more accurate rendition. Inside the church is a small altar. On the far side of the room is a small chapel called the Blessed Sacrament Chapel. This is the courtyard where Peter is said to have denied Christ 3 times before the cock crowed. Now Peter was sitting outside the courtyard, and a servant girl came up to him and said, "You also were with Jesus the Galilean." But he denied it before them all, saying, "I do not know what you mean." And when he went out to the entrance, another servant girl saw him, and she said to the bystanders, "This man was with Jesus of Nazareth." And again he denied it with an oath, "I do not know the man." After a little while the bystanders came up and said to Peter, "Certainly you too are one of them, for your accent betrays you." Then he began to invoke a curse on himself and to swear, "I do not know the man." And immediately the rooster crowed. And Peter remembered the saying of Jesus, "Before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times." And he went out and wept bitterly. Also inside the church is a viewing port to an old cistern that doubled as a dungeon of sorts. This is where Jesus was held overnight after the mock trial held in secrecy in which Caiaphas would accuse Jesus of blasphemy. Engraved crosses from the Byzantine era are carved into the sides of this opening. But the story does not start here at Caiaphas's house. It starts at the Garden of Gethsemane, for it is in the garden where Judas betrayed Jesus with a kiss for payment of 30 pieces of silver. It is also here that Peter cuts off the ear of the high priest's servant, who is also referred to as a soldier. But he is made whole again when Jesus heals the man. Jesus is led away to Caiaphas's house. A stone walkway discovered in the past few years leads to the direction of which Jesus was taken. These walls are what are left of Caiaphas's house, where Jesus would have been tried, mocked, spit upon, and beaten. It was Caiaphas who, unknowingly, made the incredible prophecy concerning God's plan of sacrificing Jesus for the sins of the nation and even the whole world. John chapter 11, verses 49 and 50. And one of them, Caiaphas, being high priest that year, said to them, "You know nothing at all, nor do you consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and not that the whole nation should perish." The Romans made sure that they had total control over all of the affairs of Judea. They reserved the right to appoint not only the civil ruler, but also the religious leaders of the Jews, the high priest. One of the more terrible and frightening attributes of this dungeon is the gaping hole in the brutally hard and cold stone floor at the bottom of this pit. It is said that Jesus was cast into this place via this hole, and yet did not break a single bone. It's a long enough drop to certainly deter anyone willing or foolish enough to attempt it, let alone surviving the fall in the dark wearing sandals and garments of the day. The cistern dungeon must have been very dark, cold, and about as inhospitable as anyone could imagine. The modern stairs keep going down further and further until the place where Jesus spent that terrible night is finally reached. Above is the mouth of the cistern with the Byzantine-era crosses engraved on the sides. Moving back up to the surface of the modern courtyard, bronze castings of Peter's denial of Jesus is brought back to life. Where Peter denied Jesus, Jesus did not deny Peter. This looks like a good place to wrap up this video, so I will. But this is a sneak peek of what you're going to see in the next video when we visit the Israeli Museum. I'm Dave Anderson for Helicool's Helipad Productions. You guys be safe out there, and God bless.